Life doesn't pause when you're sick. Vaccines against respiratory illnesses can help protect you and give you more playtime with your best friend. Depending on age and health status, vaccinations for flu, COVID-19, RSV, or pneumococcal infection may be recommended. Vaccines can help keep you from having a rough time. Learn more at cveep.org/vaccines-protect. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and CVEEP, fighting infectious respiratory disease.
Well, we made it to 300 episodes of Paper Napkin Wisdom, which means I've officially talked into a microphone more than most people talk to their relatives. To celebrate, head over to papernapkinwisdom.com, scroll down, type book in the contact form, fill out the rest of the information, and we'll send you 3 free ebooks: the Demand Blueprint, the Profit Blueprint, and the Gratitude Ritual. That's $25 in value, cheaper than therapy, and way more useful.
Welcome to Paper Napkin Wisdom, where we share pearls of wisdom shared by some of the world's top entrepreneurs, leaders, and difference makers. Here's your host, Govind Jayaraman.
Hi, I'm Govind Jayaraman, and this is Paper Napkin Wisdom, episode 314, and it's the 12th in the series of Edge of the Napkin episodes. So today, I want to take you into a conversation that sits right at the edge of growth and leadership and the way we actually change our lives. There's a phrase we all grew up hearing, maybe from our parents, maybe from school, maybe just around the world around us. And it's, I'll believe it when I see it. It sounds reasonable, it sounds responsible, and it sounds safe. But entrepreneurs and leaders, people who are really committed to becoming the next version of themselves, know deep down inside that this phrase doesn't really achieve anything meaningful, ever. Because growth doesn't start on the outside. It starts on the inside. It doesn't start with evidence. It doesn't start with proof. It starts on the inside, in the unseen, in the part of you that knows that something is true before the world actually reflects it back. And in this episode, we're going to explore a napkin idea that flips that script. Believing is seeing. It's a simple line, but if you let it in and if you allow yourself to sit with it, it can shift the way you make decisions, lead others, and build what matters. Instead of waiting to see before you move, you become the kind of person who moves and then starts to see. We talk about why we hesitate, why we wait for certainty, and why the next version of ourselves and our lives is already present within you, waiting to be revealed. We'll look at how your belief shapes that perception and how leaders change what others can see simply by holding a different truth, and how entrepreneurs create evidence instead of waiting for it. And by the end of the conversation, you may notice a change, a sense of remembering, not becoming, and a sense that you've been trying to grow into, and it might already be there. As always, I'd love to hear your reflections on this. Share your thoughts with me on social, and if something lands for you, write it on a napkin and tag it with the hashtag #PaperNapkinWisdom. You never know who needs to see your insight today, so please share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Let's dive in. There's a phrase that we've all learned somewhere between childhood and adulthood, maybe in school, maybe from a parent, maybe from the quiet logic of the world around us. It just dropped in. I'll believe it when I see it. Say it out loud. There's a kind of solidity to it, right? A weight. It sounds responsible, cautious, and logical. But if you've ever built a business or created something, if you've ever led a team, if you've ever tried to grow into the next version of yourself, you know that that phrase has rarely, if anything, ever created anything meaningful. Because the truth, the deeper truth that we don't talk about is this: seeing doesn't create belief. Belief creates the ability to see. The world says, show me the evidence and then I'll trust. But leadership, entrepreneurship, and genuine growth, those things whisper back, trust evidence will reveal itself. Not immediately and not all at once, and not usually even in the way that we expect. And definitely not in the way that we crave, but always, always with the certainty we earn. Today, we're going to talk about this thought, this napkin. This napkin is an invitation to reverse the way most people think the world works, because growth is an inside out game. And until you believe, like really believe, you cannot see the opportunities, the connections, the strengths, the solutions, or even the version of you that is already waiting on the other side. Entrepreneurs and leaders do this all the time. You wait for the market to prove your idea is good. You wait for the team to show initiative before empowering them. You wait for the confidence before taking the risk. You wait for the time to slow down before prioritizing things that matter. You wait for clarity before making the decision. And while you wait, life moves. Opportunities evolve. Momentum fades, and the identity you're supposed to grow into stays locked behind the door of maybe later or maybe next time. But here's the quiet truth you already know. Evidence doesn't create belief. Action, informed and motivated by belief, creates evidence. That sentence alone could change someone's entire year. The world's greatest inventions didn't come from people who waited for proof. They came from people who trusted something internal before the external world reflected it back. Entrepreneurs often think that their job is to respond better to what they can see, but real entrepreneurs don't respond first. They declare first. They believe first. Leaders aren't people who wait for permission. Leaders are people who act like the future is already real. And people who level up, they don't try to become someone new. They remember who they already are. So think about this. When a seed is buried in the soil, the first stage of growth happens in darkness. When a muscle gets stronger, the fibers repair long before the strength is visible. When a child learns a language, their brains form the meaning before their mouths can form the words. The unseen always precedes the seen. It's not just a metaphor or a cute idea. It's how transformation actually works. We think growth is external because that's where the results show up. But the results are lagging indicators, trailing proof of the internal shifts, the leading indicators that it's actually happening. But by the time you start seeing the difference, the real change already happened inside a while ago. Belief is the internal shift that allows the external world to follow. And this is why breakthrough moments feel sudden from the outside, but from the inside, you know the truth. They were building for a long time. When you believe something deeply, your attention changes, your energy changes, your identity shifts. And suddenly you notice things that were always there. Believing doesn't create the opportunity. Believing allows you to finally recognize it. The world around you changes the moment the world within you changes. We were trained explicitly or implicitly to trust what we can measure. Data, proof, evidence, traction, precedent, track records, validations, endorsements. All of these things matter eventually. But when you make them the starting point instead of the confirmation point, you get trapped. And here's what actually happens in the mind when you wait to see what you believe. You filter through the reality, which is not good enough yet. You distrust your instincts. You shrink your vision. You take only actions that feel safe, and you create exactly the reality you didn't want. Leaders who wait for certainty never lead. Entrepreneurs who wait for proof never innovate. People who wait for confidence never start. And there's a subtle but important point. When you wait for external proof, you make growth conditional. When you believe first, you make growth inevitable. Let's pause for a moment and imagine something. Imagine you walk into a room and you're told someone in this room admires you. Find out who. Now, notice where your attention goes. You can scan for eye contact. You scan for warmth. You scan for openness. Your entire perception shifts towards possibility. Now, imagine the same room, but you're told someone in this room resents you. Find out who. You feel the difference? You scan for tension. Find it everywhere. You scan for rejection. You see it everywhere. You scan for discomfort, and it's there. The room didn't change, but your belief did, so your ability to see changed. And that's how our minds work. Your belief system acts like the lighting in a room. Whatever you believe about yourself, your business, your future, your ideas, your words, your thoughts, that belief highlights certain possibilities and hides others. It's not magic, it's perception, it's attention. It's the internal blueprint that shapes the external experience. And that's why the phrase believing is seeing isn't philosophical, it's functional, it's practical. It's how leaders and entrepreneurs create results long before the world understands how. So, great entrepreneurs have a peculiar relationship with reality. They don't ignore it, they don't deny it, but they also don't let it dictate what's possible. They see the trajectory, not just the circumstances. They see the potential, not just the present. They see the identity of who they're becoming, not the identity of who they've been. And because they believe differently, they behave differently. And here are the patterns I've seen over and over with the best founders, builders, and leaders. They believe in the problem before believing in the solution. Most people ask, but how do we fix it? Great entrepreneurs, do we believe we can fix it? The belief comes first. The solution becomes visible after the belief takes root. They believe in the team before the team sees it themselves. Leadership isn't about extracting performance. It's about invoking identity. It's about treating people like they can be, not as they are. When you believe in someone at a deeper level than they're currently performing, they rise. Not because you forced them, not because you coerced them, but because you saw something that they couldn't see yet. They believe the future version of themselves is already real. And this is the quiet truth. You don't grow into a new identity, you uncover it. You're not trying to become someone, you're learning to stop resisting who you already are. They believe long enough for reality to catch up. Most people underestimate how long belief takes to convert into evidence. The results always lag behind the identity shift. And this is where ordinary entrepreneurs fade and extraordinary ones separate and distinguish themselves. Leadership is belief multiplied. Your team will rarely believe bigger than the level of belief you hold. If you believe people can make decisions, they make better decisions. If you believe that people can grow, they grow. If you believe that people can lead, they lead. If you believe that people can overcome, they do. The opposite is also true. Belief is contagious, positively or negatively. The leader sets the culture not by what they demand, but what they believe is possible and what they believe is already there. When a leader says, I see something in you, the nervous system of the room shifts. When a leader says, we're capable of this, people start noticing reasons it could work. Belief changes perception. Perception changes action. And action changes results. And suddenly, you're seeing the world you believed as possible. If you're trying to level up in life, in health, relationships, career, purpose, everything starts inside. The world responds to the version of you that you bring to it. And here are 3 truths that people rarely articulate. Truth number 1, your identity expands before your behavior changes. You start to feel differently before you act differently. Truth number 2, your beliefs determine what you notice. If you believe you're capable, you notice opportunities. If you believe you're behind, you notice obstacles. Same world, different filter, different reality. Truth number 3, when you believe deeply, you automatically take aligned action. You don't force change, you allow it, because belief is the foundation of consistency. So let's bring this to the real world. Here's some practical ways to practice believing as seeing. Simple, powerful internal shifts that you can use today. Number 1, act as if the future version of you is already here. This isn't pretending. This isn't modeling identity. Ask yourself, if I fully believed that this were possible, what would I do next? That question alone changes your behavior immediately, and take one small action. One small action in that direction right now. Number 2, look for what's working before looking for what's missing. This doesn't mean ignoring problems. This doesn't mean toxic positivity. It means expanding the frame and allowing your brain to show you more of what you want to reward it for noticing. Number 3, use language that reinforces possibility. When you say things like, I'm figuring this out, I'm becoming the person who does this easily, I'm certain of this, this is starting to make sense, this is mine to solve, my experience to solve, you activate belief on an unconscious level. Number 4, surround yourself with people who believe in bigger things, in brighter things. Borrow belief. Don't fake it, but borrow belief until yours grows. Every leader you've ever admired has done this. Believe it or not, you can even borrow belief from people you don't know, but you associate with through podcasts and other environments. Number 5, remember moments where belief came before the evidence. You already have proof of this in your own life, in your own experience, in your own timeline. Think back to the business you started before anyone understood it. Think back to the relationship you committed to before knowing the outcome. Think back to the risk that you took that changed your life. Think back to the version of you from 5 years ago who would be shocked to see how far you've made it. You've lived believing as seeing. You just forgot. Look, there's an old story retold in many cultures, but this version stayed with me. A young apprentice watched a master sculptor work on a massive block of marble. Day after day, the master chipped away, patiently, with a serene kind of certainty. The apprentice finally asked, "Master, how do you know what to carve? How do you know there's something inside worth finding?" The sculptor smiled, not condescending, but warm, loving, like someone sharing a truth that's always been present. He said, "Every block of stone has a statue within it. My job is not to create it. My job is to remove everything that isn't it." The apprentice hesitated. "But how do you know what's inside? I can't see anything." The masters placed the apprentice's hand on the cool marble and whispered, "You don't see it first. You believe it first." Then your hands learn how to reveal what has always been there. Years later, when the apprentice became a sculptor themselves, they finally understood it never created a masterpiece. He'd released it. The stone didn't need more potential. It needed more belief. And so do you. So here's the part that many people miss. You're not becoming a leader. You're remembering that you already are one. You're not becoming confident. You're remembering the moments where you already were. You're not becoming the next version of yourself. You're remembering that the next version of yourself is simply uncovered, unfiltered, the fully expressed version that has always existed. And that's why belief matters. Belief isn't external validation. Belief is internal recognition. And once you recognize who you are, that's when you begin to see it everywhere. In your decisions, in your team, in your opportunities, in your results, in your reflections at the end of the day. Believing is the spark. Seeing is the smoke. Before any great chapter of your life, there's a moment, sometimes spoken aloud, sometimes silent, where you say, "I know this is who I am." Not, "I hope," or "I'll try," or "if things go well, maybe," but "I am this now. I am here. I am." You don't wait for evidence. You generate it. You don't wait for confidence. You behave your way into it. You don't wait to see, you decide to believe. And then slowly, then suddenly, the world rearranges itself to match your belief. Because belief is not what you have, belief is what you hold. And what you hold determines what you can see. You don't have to push. You don't have to force. You don't have to wait for confirmation. The future you desire, the leader you can become, the impact you're meant to create, it already exists within you. Your job now is the same job as the sculptors. Remove everything that isn't you. Believe in what's already inside, and then watch your life reveal itself. Believing is seeing. And when you believe deeply, quietly, consistently, the world begins to mirror back to you what was always true. You were already this, and now you finally see it. Make it a great day.
If you want to feel more connected to humanity and a little less alone, listen to Beautiful Anonymous. Each week, I take a phone call from one random anonymous human being. There's over 400 episodes in our back catalog. You get to feel connected to all these different people all over the world. Recent episodes include one where a lady survived a murder attempt by her own son. But then the week before that, we just talked about Star Trek. It can be anything. It's unpredictable. It's raw. It's real. Get Beautiful Anonymous wherever you listen to podcasts.